going to go borrow money from angels and VCs, make sure you see him first before you go in front of a lender. And that's kind of where my background is. So I started kind of like behind the scenes, and I'm trying to go back there. That's why I need the speakers, right? And so anyways, that's kind of what I do. And over the years, I would look at these great business plans from these incredible, the most successful people in the country, and I would get to study how they capture that kind of volume, how they structure their corporations, how they hire and interview their people, and that was a really good education. And then after decades of doing this, I said, well, I should do this for myself, and the NDAs are all run out. I should probably do one for myself, and that's what I did, and it worked. And then I said, okay, now what do I want to do? And this is kind of where we're at with the school. So what I've been doing for the last 5 years is I've been selling a coaching lunch. If you guys have seen some of that on the website, it's like $2,000 for a lunch. And basically, people fly in with remnants of a plan. I fix it mathematically, and they fly away. And it got to where I was eating 2 lunches a day and 2 dinners a day. And my whole life was in a restaurant. I swear, we have a restaurant in Missouri. I spent $7,000 a month in this restaurant. And one day I showed up, and it actually had halibut a la Vega on the menu, because it's like I spent so much money here. And so after about 45 pounds, I was like, I can't do this anymore. Really, I've only lost about half of it. And so I was like, you know what do I want to do? And I thought, the big stage, and I do a couple of national shows right now with some cool people, but I don't love the big stage as far as, 18,000 people, 20,000 people like those national shows. It's okay, but I don't love it. What I love is 100 to 200 people in a room, classroom style, dig in, and forget motivation, forget leaving with 1 or 2 nuggets. But my goal is I want people to leave with 10 pages of notes. Literally 10 pages. That's what we're going to do between now and the time we leave today. I remember being on one particular show when we would go out on stage, and they would say, listen, you're going to be on stage roughly 35 minutes. We need to go out and give 25 to 30 minutes of sizzle and dynamic sizzle. Give the audience 2 or 3 nuggets that are applicable they can go apply the next day, and then you need to save a few minutes left for your sales pitch of where you're going to be for your workshop. And to me, it's like, how's that about the audience, right? So this isn't about me today or the other speakers. It's really about you. And, I'm planning to give away a couple $1,000s of education of what I've learned over the last 20 years, and then we'll sit back and see if we can have a mutual benefit. Does that sound good? Okay. So in that experience of learning from these great people, here's what I figured out. This is really the only thing I've really figured out, and some people think it's okay. What I figured out is that the way that we've been taught to do business since modern day business began, which I believe is like 1904, 1905, World's Fair, right, is what they claim. The way we've been taught to do business, or specifically write a business plan, since business began, is mathematically flawed. It could not work. Isn't that interesting? Like the way we've been taught to do business since modern day business started, it's mathematically errored. And if you look at the SBA, they're saying that 75% of companies, startup companies, go out of business in 24 months, 85% within 60 months. That's kind of the marker. 60 months is the test, if you can stay around. And then a few percent make it to the decade point. And to be honest with you, when I look at those companies now that make it to the decade point, most of them shouldn't make it. I always ask them, I say, let me ask you a question. If nothing changes, how long do you think you have before you're out of business? And you know what they tell me? Because they're emotionally involved. They always say, if nothing changes, I think we'd be in some hot water in 6 months to a year. For some reason, we always have another 6 months to a year, right? And then mathematically, I look at it, I say, no, actually, you've been operating out of business for 17 months, right? Because it's in the red. It's out of business. And then I say, the numbers don't add up, so who's funding this thing personally? Somebody's funding it. Well, we had a little tax return, so we put it in there for a little cash infusion, try to revive it. Obviously, if they were entrepreneurs, they're probably good at making money, and maybe at one time had money. So they're doing side ventures, side jobs, and we're putting it into the business to try to revive it because we remember the day that it used to make money or whatever. And sometimes we just got to look at, the world has changed too much, and we didn't change enough with it. And this idea is a dead one now, and we either need to completely revamp or shut it down, cut bait and start a project that is going to make money because the world is so progressive, right? But the problem is they're emotionally involved. You know, they see the captain literally aborting ship, but they're like, nope, I remember a day when this thing made money, and I know just a couple of tweaks we're going to be like, it's always right there, and they just stay on, and they follow it to the bottom of the ocean, right? So it helps with an outside perspective to come in unemotional and say, look, here's the brass tacks of it unemotionally, here's the math of it, what do we want to do? And that is kind of what I do. Now, here's the problem with business plans. Anybody ever written a business plan in here before? Here's the problem with it. If you look at a business plan and you read it from front to back, here's the way it kind of reads. See, the first thing you have is, and you don't have to write this down. If you want the PowerPoint to this, I'll send it to you. But the first thing is you have a vision statement, right? This is what we see that we can do. And then we have a mission statement of X amount of people are going to set out to accomplish this vision. And then you have the description of your products or services. And then you name where you're going to set up camp geographically and price points of what you're going to price the product or service at, how you're going to market that product or service. You have things like what's called a SWOT analysis, right? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. A lot of people think that your strengths and opportunities are similar and then your weaknesses and threats are similar. But actually, it's not like that. Strengths and weaknesses are written in a business plan from an internal perspective. So it's like, what do we perceive inside our company that are strengths and weaknesses? Opportunities and threats are external in the marketplace, right? So you need all of it. And then towards the end of the business plan, you're going to see price points of what you can not only purchase the product for that, what you're going to sell, what if you're going to do standard pay versus incentive pay. And then the last few things that you're going to see in the business plan is fixed overhead, right? Rent, utilities, the phone bill, all that. And then the last thing is how much money you stand to make, right? So if you read a business plan from front to back, it kind of reads like this. You know, if we've had the right vision and we set out on the right mission and we hire the really, really good people and our trainer trains them really, really good, right? And we got the right price points, we're charging the right amount, we got the right margins coming in, we recognize our strengths and weaknesses, we do something to counteract take advantage of our opportunities and counteract our threats, and we have a low fixed overhead. Wow, we stand to make a lot of money. So that's kind of like a business plan, right? That's not possible. Mathematically, that could not work. Here's why. See, the way that math works is that when you selected the first 8 or 10 hard variables of your business, which is literally first few pages of the business plan, and they're random. When you said, here's what we're going to do, and we're going to set out on this mission with this 8 people, and we're going to sell this product or service, and I think we can buy it for this price, and we're going to sell it for this, right? The first few variables, 8 or 10 variables that you selected at random, the way that you randomly selected those variables, and then the way you randomly chose to put those variables together, what you've done, unbeknownst to you, is that math now is predestined to add up to a certain amount. You follow me? You're just not there yet. But if you could fast forward in time, 12 months, 24 months, or 36 months, you would see what it adds up to. You follow me? So you randomly select 8 or 10 variables, and you say, here's the people I'm going to hire, I'm going to charge this, and we're going to set up camp here. And you put them together a random way, and now that math, or your potential for earning money, has a roof on it. You've just predestined that math to add up to a certain amount. You're just not there, right? But then we have this figure in the back of our mind saying, but this year, come on, I have to make $500,000 this year, right? No matter how bad you want all that math at the end to add up to $500,000, it's not going to happen. It's literally like lotto. I mean, if you look at a real business plan, you're talking thousands of different math sequences that you're randomly picking because of observation or competitors or whatever. You're randomly picking all these math, and then you're putting them together randomly, and then you're like, come on, got to add up to $1 million at the end. There's no way that math is going to add up to what you want. It's not possible. So most goal setting, in my opinion, is it's pie in the sky. You know, everybody sets goals, and you really, just because you want 2 + 2 to add up to 5, it's not gonna. Right? And that's what we do in a business plan. We have all this math that we randomly select, and then we say, but I got to make $1 million this year. And we just wish it so.